Liberty Nation with Tim Donner.
It's very hard for me not to get emotional about what we learned this week from a legend, a giant, a towering figure, all of that. The voice, the indispensable man of the conservative movement. Shows like this, Liberty Nation Radio, wouldn't even exist were it not for the pioneer of conservative talk radio, the man from Missouri who rose to genuine greatness. He single-handedly created and dominated an industry that now stands as a staple of the conservative movement and was stunningly awarded the highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, by the President of the State of the Union address this week. Just how significant has Rush Limbaugh been? Let me say this personally as the host of this show for 8 years now. When I listen to him, my challenge is to not simply repeat or regurgitate here what he said, because it's always just about impossible to top. But the alternative is to not listen to him, which is not an alternative. So I attacked many of the same issues from a slightly or drastically different angle. But make no mistake, Rush Limbaugh is the North Star, or as my friend Brent Bozell called him this week, True North. As both a conservative and a radio host, the standard against which all of us are judged as conservatives and as talk show hosts. That's some insight into the mind of a talk host, or at least this talk host. But on a broader scale, I will argue, as Brent Bozell did this week, that the conservative movement itself, writ large, would have shriveled up and died had Rush Limbaugh not been there to pick up the mantle from Ronald Reagan, Ronaldus Magnus as he called him, in 1988, the year his show began. The Reagan Revolution at that point was complete, but ready to be deconstructed by the kinder, gentler George H.W. Bush, who then gave way to Bill Clinton. Rush was the one who kept the fire burning, minded the store, just as William F. Buckley had done in the early days before Reagan, when Reagan was just a distant hope. I will also say, without reservation, that were it not for Rush Limbaugh, Donald Trump would not be president. Rush was the one who identified early on the unique opportunity for real major reform represented by this man who defied the longest of odds and made it all the way to the White House. Conversely, if Rush had sent forth the word to his 20 million plus listeners, like so many of the other conservative talk show hosts, that Trump was not a real conservative and should be viewed with, at best, deep suspicion, Hillary Clinton would be president today. That is the influence, the power, the respect this man has commanded for over 3 decades, and why he's been for many years the most reviled and feared man on the left, because he pulls no punches in calling them out with brutal honesty and humor to beat the band. No one can replace him any more than anyone could replace Bill Buckley, Ronald Reagan, or Donald Trump. Relentless, unswerving, uncompromising, the very qualities in Rush that Rush saw in Donald Trump. Rush will benefit from prayer warriors far and wide, millions of people who never miss his daily cleansing of their political souls, praying for his return to health. May he recover and stay with us, if only for the sake of we who are so deeply saddened by news of his grave health, stage 4 cancer. But at worst, may he at least live to see the dawn on November 3rd, 2020, because Rush just may come to feel that once Donald Trump is reelected, his work will be done.